Respected elders, educationists, dear teachers, and dear students, welcome. Dear students, in this class, we are going to see five couplets. First, five couplets under the head not speaking useless words. Under the chapter 20, it is today we are going to see five couplets from 191 to 195 under the chapter 20 having the head no speaking useless words. The five couplets beautifully tells us so what are the disadvantages man would be having if he spoke useless words. What are the disadvantages man would be having if he spoke fruitless words? All the five couplets. Beautiful couplets. So come, let us see them. Tirukural. Comments and explanations with the new dimension. Five couplets from 191 to 195. Video 78. 18, 11, 11, 11 1, 2024. Virtue, the chapter 20. Domestic virtue. Not speaking fruitless verse. Couplet 191. He who speaks fruitless words in the presence of the wise will be laughed at by all. He who speaks fruitless words in the presence of the wise will be laughed at by all. What is the message of this couplet? It is if a man speaks useless words in the gathering of wise people, he will be laughed at not only by wise people but by all the people. Again, if a man speaks fruitless words in the gathering of the wise, he will be laughed at not only by the wise people but also by God. This is a message of this couplet. Content. Man of fruitless words would be ridiculed not only by the wise but by all. Man of fruitless words would be ridiculed not only by the wise but by all. Explanation. The man who speaks fruitless words in the assembly of the wise people will be ridiculed by all the people. That is, the man who speaks fruitless words in the gathering in the assembly of the wise will be laughed at, will be ridiculed, means will be laughed at, will be ridiculed by all the people. That is, if a man spoke useless words in the gathering of the wise, he would be ridiculed by all. That is, the message of this couplet is that in the presence of wise people, we should use only calculated words. This is the message of the couplet. That is, in the gathering of the wives, we should use only calculated words. We should handle only calculated words. And no account should we speak as we think. Only well measured words, well measured, fruitful words should be spoken in the presence of the voice. This is the message of the couplets. Again, he who speaks fruitless words in the presence of the wise will be laughed at by all. That is, if a man speaks fruitless, useless words in the gathering of the wise, he will be laughed at both by the wise and by all. Chapter 192. To speak words, sans sense, in the presence of the wise is worse than to do vicious deeds to the friends of nice. To speak words, sans sense in the presence of the wise is worse than to do vicious deeds to the friend of nice. What is the message? It is speaking useless words in the presence of the voice is worse than doing evil deeds to the dearest friend. This is the message of this covenant. That is, speaking fruitless words in the gathering of the voice is worse than doing evil deeds to the dearest friend. Speaking useless words in the gathering of the voice is worse than doing evil deeds to the dearest friend. Content in the presence of the voice, words should be carefully employed. In the presence of the voice, words should be carefully employed. Words should be carefully employed. That is, in the presence of the voice, we should carefully use words. We should carefully employ words. Use words. Explanation. Speaking fruitless words in the presence of wise people is worse than doing harmful things to friends. It is speaking nonsense in the gathering of the wise is worse than doing vicious deeds to friends and relatives. That is, we should carefully use words in the presence of the wise. We should carefully use words in the presence of the wise. Again, tablet. To speak words sans sense in the presence of the wise is worse than to do vicious deeds to the friend of nice. That is, speaking useless words in the gathering of the wise is worse than doing evil deeds to the best friend. Now let us see the couplet 193. The explanation of things which are useless will depict the speaker is useless. The explanation of things which are useless will depict the speaker is useless. What is the message of this couplet? That is, if you man explains a useless verse elaborately. If a man explains a useless verse elaborately, it will show that he is not a good man. It will show that he is not a good man. This is the message of this girl. The explanation of things which are useless will depict the speaker is useless. It is, if a man speaks elaborately about a useless thing, if a man speaks elaborately an admiration of a useless thing, it will tell us that he is not a good man. Won't it? Speaking well of fruitful thing is virtue. That is, speaking well of fruitful things is virtue. It is not speaking well of evil words, not speaking well of evil words is virtue. Or speaking well of fruitful words, speaking well of fruitful things is virtue. Not speaking well of evil words, evil things is virtue. Explanation. To explain fruitless things deeply would simply bring out that narrator is not a virtuous man, not a virtuous man. Ready? To explain fruitless things deeply would simply bring out that 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 narrator is not a virtuous man. If a man explains fruitless things deeply, simply bring out that narrator is not a virtuous man. It is, if a man glorified a useless thing with a deep explanation, if a man glorified a useless thing with a deep explanation, it would say that he was not a good man. It would say that he was not a good man. He would say that he could not be a no, that is he he could not be well that he was not a good man, that he could not be a good man. That is the message of the couplets is speaking well of fruitful thing is only virtue. Speaking well of speaking well of fruitful things is only virtue. Then the explanation of things which are useless will depict the speaker is useless. It is, if a man speaks elaborately well of a useless word. If a man speaks well of elaborate, a useless word, a useless thing about it. If a man speaks well of elaborately about a useless thing, it will tell us that he is not a good man, that he is not a right man. 194, couplet 194. Uncultured, worthless words said to the multitude, ruin virtue and destroy fruitful yield. Uncultured, worthless words said to the multitude would ruin virtue and destroy fruitful yield. What is the message? It is, if you must use uncultured and worthless words, a man use uncultured and useless, harmful words to the multitude. If a man spoke uncultured, useless words to the multitude, it would ruin virtue and destroy the fruitful and good things which are to come. If a man spoke in an uncultured and in an uncultured way about a useless thing to the multitude, it would ruin the virtue. It would ruin virtue, and also it would ruin the good, good things which are to come. This is the point. Speaking useless and impolite words is not virtue. Speaking useless and impolite words is not virtue. That is, speaking polite and useful words is virtue. In other words, speaking useless and impolite words is not virtue. That is, speaking useful and polite words is virtue. Explanation. If a man speaks unrefined and fruitless words to many people, it will not only spoil his virtuous quality, but also it will ruin the but also it will ruin the delight and goodness that he is enjoying. That's all I can say. If a man speaks unrefined and fruitless words to many people, it will not only spoil his virtuous quality, but also it will ruin the delight and goodness that he is enjoying. That is, if a man spoke useless and uncultured words to many people, it would spoil his name and delight. That is, speaking useless and impolite words is not virtue. Speaking useless and impolite words is not virtue. Sagaida, taken the couplet. Uncultured, worthless words said to the multitude would ruin virtue and destroy fruitful yield. That is, if a man speaks uses, if a man speaks uncultured and unrefined words, uncultured and useless words to many people, if a man speaks unrefined and useless words to many people, it will not only it will not only spoil his virtuous quality, but also it would destroy the delight and goodness that he is enjoying. Chapter 195. If a dignified man utters useless words, his greatness and dignity will lose their price. See, a very beautiful couplet. If a dignified man utters useless words, his greatness and dignity will lose their price. See, what is the hidden message? What is the core message of this couplet? That is, if we are Great, virtuous man, if you're a respectful, great man, speaks useless words. If you're wise, a wise, respectful man speaks useless words, it will destroy his greatness, dignity, reputation, and everything. Sorry. If a great man speaks useless words, it will ruin all his greatness and reputation, all the greatness and reputation that he gets already had, that he gets already had. So, great people should be extremely careful in using words. An ordinary man may speak useless things using useless words. The great people should be very cautious in using words. On no account should they use useless words. Useless words. Pundit, people of virtue on any account should not utter useless words. People of virtue, it is virtuous people, virtuous great people, and no on any account should not utter useless words. That is, great people on no account should use useless words. It is great people should always use only useful words. Explanation. The great people spoke unhealthy words, they would lose their eminence and excellence. If great people spoke unhealthy words, they would lose their eminence and excellence. It is the people of virtuous qualities speak fruitless words. Their dignity and greatness will get away from them. If people of virtuous qualities speak fruitless words, their dignity and greatness will get away from them. That is, virtuous people should never utter useless words. Virtuous people should never utter useless words. Useless words. Again, if a dignified man utters useless words, his greatness and dignity will lose their prides. That is, if great people if a great man, see, that is, if great people use, even forgettingly, useless words, it would destroy. Great people spoke useless words, it would destroy their reputation and greatness that they have already had. That they have already had. Respected elders, educationists, dear students, and teachers. Thus, we have seen five couplets under the chapter 20, having the head, not speaking useless words. You know what is five couplets? Saying a word beautifully narrates. What are the demerits? What are the demerits? Who will be failing if we use useless words? So, dear children, dear grandchildren, be extremely careful in using words. We should never use fruitless words because of speaking or glorifying useless words. No goodness or benefit is going to come because of speaking glorifying useless things. No benefit or goodness we are going to get. If we speak useless and fruitless words about fruitless things, who will be only inviting hatred and bad, bad name from others, from the society. So, totally avoiding useless words would bring us many things. Whether we are doing good things or not, whether we are doing virtuous things or not, that is a secondary thing. But avoiding useless words and avoiding the talking about useless things would earn us greatness. So we should be extremely careful in using words in the presence of wisdom. That is, let us see, that is another thing. Even ordinary people may use useless words about useless things. People of reputation and greatness should never utter useless words about useless things. Useless words about useless things. So, speaking about useful words, about useful things, would earn us merit on greatness. So, I would like to again depict a couplet, I mean 195. You see, if a dignified man utters useless words, his greatness and dignity will lose their price. It is, if a dignified great man uses fruitless words about a fruitless thing, then he will lose the reputation and greatness that he has already had. Oh, this is the best example that whatever that is valuable is posing to us. So he tells us, dear people, be careful. What are the consequences you would be facing if you use useless words about fruitless things? So be extremely cautious and careful in using words, in handling words, in the gathering of the voice. So, respected elders, educationists, and dear teachers and dear students, I thank all of you for keenly listening to my commentary about the five couplets under the chapter 20, having the head not speaking about useless things. Not speaking useless things. It's okay. Till I meet you in the next class. I wish all of you a very nice and sweet day.